It's 10:35 now and the temperature's starting to drop. Over that way it's still vaguely light, just slight afterglow, and I'll see you in the morning, so I'll say good night. Good night. It's 1 minute past 4. I know that because I've just looked at my phone clock. I just had to get up for a call in nature. Look, there's the start of sunrise already. Bird song in the trees already as well. Gosh, plane going across the contrail. Hear the roar of the M4 over there actually. Wow. As I said last night, approaching 10 o'clock, it was still warm outside, warm enough to be in shorts. Then by about 10:30, 11:15, it definitely chilled down and I needed to get inside. That sunrise and the lightning sky seems to be like a volume switch for the birds. It just seems to be turning the volume up on the bird song. Anyway, I need to get back inside my sleeping bag, it's a bit chilly out here. It's 7:15 now, and you may see the sun's already quite high. There was a little bit of condensation on the fly sheet of the tent, not much, a couple of drops, that was all. That'll warm up and evaporate soon. I've just been up to the compost loo. There's something really nice about dry WCs. They're a bit strange the first time I used one, but I really like them now. And what I like about this campsite is there's kind of minimal information, only the important stuff. And there's details if you want it, but it's not in your face. For instance, there's the sawdust bin, and it just says on top, you know, 1 scoop per use. And there's information on the wall. If you want to know more, it tells you about the composting process. I didn't know that. By adding the sawdust to your waste, it adds carbon to nitrogen, which starts the composting process, so that was interesting. And they also twin their toilets as well with composting toilets in places like Uganda, so that was interesting. Again, it's not in your face, it's there if you want to read it. I've always kind of had a curious mind, so I like to know how things work, so that was interesting. I'm just going to put some hot water on actually, watch the sun rise a bit higher as I gradually wake up. I didn't really get back to sleep after getting up this morning, and the tent was too light, and I just thought I'd had enough sleep, so I watched the YouTube video, and I've just been coming round slowly. So yeah, time for breakfast. I was just on my 2nd or 3rd glass of wine last night, I suppose about 8 o'clock, something like that. Zoe, the owner, came round, we had a bit of a chat. I've been camping about 49 years, next year will be my 50th anniversary, and I said to her, most of my life, fires have just been frowned upon in campsites, and people clearly want them, so it's nice to see them, the facilities here to do it safe. They've even got fire buckets up there, and they ask you to take a bucket of water each time you light a fire, you know, just in case for emergencies, so even that's well thought out. When I went to the States, I did a 3-month tour over there about 26 years ago, and even the most rustic campsites there, you know, just the small little patches next to a road, you know, with honesty boxes, even they would have fire pits and metal barbecues raised off the ground. Everywhere had it over there, and whenever I went to campsites, you could always smell the sizzling of steaks or burgers being cooked. Yet over here, as I said, it was frowned upon for many, many years, so it's really nice to see the facilities here. And as I showed you last night when I went in that top field, there was a couple of campfires at the top and all the smoke billowing out. That's quite nice to see. I've never really practiced campfires, funny enough, even though I've been camping so many years. As I said, on most campsites it was frowned upon, you know, you weren't allowed to do it, there'd be signage everywhere not to do it. And when I wild camped, I never really had the facilities. I've learned how to make fires now because I've got the wood burner for my hot tent, so I've learned how to process wood properly, even in the winter, how to get the dry stuff and get a fire going. But I've never really dug fire pits and made fires for that reason, really. Okay, so I did not need the Campfinder app to get here last night, but I used it anyway just to practice how to home in on a campsite. I discovered this app last year, and for finding campsites away from familiar surroundings, that's what I now use, and I found this app really easy to use. I downloaded it from the Play Store. It's on the Apple Store as well, so I never download anything other than the official App Store. I'm now back in Bath because the glare at the campsite was quite bad, so I'm recording off my phone. Now I've just opened the campsite Finder app up, and the main interface is this, and you can see the main search method is that map there, which we can expand. So there's 3 major ways of finding campsites. You can enter a location or postcode, or you can double tap where you want to search. Let's just zoom in somewhere. Let's just zoom in, I don't know, Bedale there. Double tap. See what happens? And then if I expand the screen, you'll see there's all the campsites there. But what I normally do is let us find your location. It'll take about a second or so. There you go, look. 105 sites within 20 miles of Bath. You can see. I think I'm correct in saying the green ones are affiliated sites, the red ones are independent sites, and the grey ones are members only. That's far too many sites, isn't it? So what I can then do is go to search filters and distance. So I'm going to take the circle distance down to say 5 miles, which is more appropriate, isn't it? And then I can choose pitch types. All I want is tents, but you can see all the other options there: caravans, campervans, glamping, etc. Types of site: pub with a campsite, working farm, dogs, no dogs, etc. Adult only sites. Features: open all years, campfires, sea views. Members only sites: show them, exclude them. Facilities: showers, toilets, disabled friendly, internet, swimming pool. You get the idea. So let's just have a look at what we got there. You can see that's now narrowed it down to 2, a green one and a red one. So let's tap number 1 there. It tells me it's Lansdowne campsite. And then if I click the link, it gives me the address, some pictures, a rating, location maps, check availability, opening updates, pitches 50. So it just gives you all the information you need. Price guides. So I just find this really useful for when I'm on the road. I use the app when I'm cycle touring in unfamiliar areas. So next month when I'm in East Anglia, I'll just be tapping that. I may have a look first thing in the morning to get a rough idea, something to head for. But what I tend to do is about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, get an idea of some possible campsites, maybe tap a couple and sort of see what the facilities are like, whether I like the look of them, and then just home in. Sometimes they're exactly on my route, other times I may need to allow maybe an hour or so just to deviate off course and find the campsite. So that app is absolutely fantastic. I've got no affiliation to it, I'm just really impressed with it. It's the first one I tried and I landed on my feet, didn't I? It's really easy to use. Well, it's now lovely and warm and I've got my towels out drying in the sun. And as usual for an overnight camp, I just bought a bowl of cereal from home, measured out at home, put it in 2 plastic bags just in case one splits. And I don't drink milk anyway, I'm intolerant to it, so I always have fruit juice or orange squash over my cereal anyway. I know it sounds weird, but it works for me. So again, that Robinson's Little Mini. It's coming up to 9 AM and I've had a really relaxed morning. Bearing in mind, I've been up since 4:01 this morning. That amazing pre-dawn glow over that horizon. Lovely and warm now. Said this many times before, I'm quite forgetful, a bit scatterbrained. The way I manage it is just to pack everything up, put it in piles, and that way I can kind of make a bit of a mental map as well, how it's going to go into the panniers really. I said last night about the air mat, this X-Ped, like many air mats I expect. I've got the two valves. As I said, the inflation one has that little valve on there just to do minor adjustments. You can tell the inflation valve because it's got the string on there and the pulley. Deflation. Just had a mouthful of air where that came out on camera. I can use my body weight to force a lot of that out, and then I'll use the pump to just extract the last little bits, and it really does help almost shrink wrap it and get it really tight and small so I can roll it up into its stuff sack, which has seen better days. So this is the air pump. All it is in effect is a glorified fan. So to inflate the mat, as I did last night, you take the dedicated adapter for these type of sleep mats, you put it on there so the air gets drawn in there, forced out there into the air mat. To draw the air out, you just do it in reverse. I've just put the adapter on there on the end of the fan, so it's going to draw the air from inside here. It'll really make a difference. You'll see it almost shriveling up. There you go, starting to shrink already. Again, about 30-45 seconds, maybe a minute maximum, and that will really make folding it up so much easier. Again, about 30 seconds, 45 minute maximum maybe. Can you see it really starting to shrink wrap as all the air is being sucked out of it? And you'll tell when it's ready to be rolled, because that will really sound like it's struggling, because it is, it's almost asphyxiating, there's not much air left. There it is then, ready to roll. Longitude wise it's folded in 3. Always roll it from the closed end up to the valves, just in case there is a little bit more air in the bottom. You'll see the pocket, you just literally open the valve and it'll force out. Okay, let's get this into this. It's stuff sack, which has seen better days. There you go, easy peasy. Just use my body weight to roll it, and first time, each time with the aid of that pump, whereas before I'd sometimes have to roll it 2 or 3 times to Swiss roll it into its bag. Those little mini pumps, yes, they may be noisy if you want to do stealth camps. It's not excessively noisy, and they're a game changer in my opinion. I've seen some campers use them. That's how I learned about them. I thought, great, I'll get one. I bought a cheap one off eBay. It's not even a branded one. Here's my Van Gogh cook set about to be packed away. So the small pots, which I only ever boil water in for washing up or for drinking, I never ever cook food in that. So the inside one has a spare band, a couple of rubbish sacks for emergencies, J-cloth, that sort of thing. Band around the outside to lock the handles in. Put my sponge there to stop the top rattling. And there it is, ready to go in its stuff sack. Not a rattle to be heard anywhere. It's all safely secured down, and it's also used for storage as well. You've got all that space inside, you might as well use it. And they are non-stick Teflon, so they start to peel away after a while. I think it's about £15 for that double set. I'll probably get a new one at the end of the season, so they're cheap enough just to keep 2 or 3 years and then bin them. And then there's my kneeling pad, cheap fold up pad, my windscreen and that grass protector in there, and the folding table, and they all seem to be roughly the same dimensions, give or take a bit, so they can be banded together. One of the things I wanted to try out last night, which has worked, is the inspiration for my upcoming cycle tour, Norfolk's Pilgrim Routes by Andy Bull. So I can take my guidebook with me rather than have to take loads of screenshots, and hopefully I can find them when I want them. I just got the book, then in the back is a chocolate pudding, which I still haven't ate. I just didn't feel the need for it last night. So that'll line out the back of one of my panniers, so I will be taking that with me in June. Then a vital part of my wash kit, electric toothbrush, USB rechargeable, toothpaste, and on a multi-day trip I'll take razors and shaving foam. Again, I'm not going to have a shave this morning, but I have brought it along. Again, this is just a shakedown, just to see how everything fits. Just changed back into cycling clothes, fresh clothes for this morning. I'll take 3 sets when I go on holiday, 1 to wear, 1 washed and drying on the back of the bike hopefully, and a spare just in case there's rainy days. These days I only ever wear 2 colours as a top, what they put on the front of trains and what highway agency workers dress in on roads. I did a neuroscience course at Duke Online, and realising how much metabolic energy the visual system uses was a real eye-opener, excuse the pun. And what exactly happens between your retinas along the pathways to your visual cortex. I only ever wear single colours. I never use any form of disruptive pattern material whatsoever. No trade logos, anything like that, to create the strongest possible boundaries I can, single colours. It's not a lecture, it's not advice, it's just my personal choice based on knowledge that I gained a few years ago. Nearly ready to pack up the tent, just giving it its last few minutes to dry in the sun. Everything's in piles almost. I'm just going to dismantle the chair. I've got to say thank you, Temu, for that replacement seat for my, what is it called again? FE Active chair. My wife's suggestion, I thought, look, for £10.19, whatever it was, it's worth a punt. And I was amazed it actually married up. It must be a standard size, these chairs. And she said, why don't you get a second one? So she's bought me a second one for Christmas. As I said, I'll get rid of the actual metallic bit because they are really, really heavy. They're okay for car or motorbike camping. You wouldn't want to lug that around. So I've got the actual lightweight skeleton from FE Active, and I've got 2 of these canvas seats now. Another thing I like about this tent is because the fly and the inner are attached, you can just screw it up and scrunch it into a stuff sack. Believe me, when I compress that, that'll half that size, and I can whack that down in the bottom of the pannier. That's what I do when I'm touring, just for ease of use night after night. At home I'll air it out, and then in the ease of my bathroom floor I can roll it up properly with the poles and the pegs inside and keep it long term in its dedicated carrying pouch. But as I said, for touring it just packs up and compresses so small. I will not be taking the active chair when I go on holiday. This is just a luxury for one night. So the other thing you have to remember is do not forget those. The only thing with that method is there's the danger you could leave your tent pegs or your tent poles at a campsite. I always do a sweep afterwards. People start talking, it's lethal. So get those in the bag first really, and if any doubt just keep checking them. Don't leave the campsite without those, whatever. It's just gone 10 AM and I'm ready to leave. I've been up since 4:01 this morning, looking at that amazing pre-dawn glow in the sky. It's only taken me 6 hours to pack up and get ready. Seriously though, I've just enjoyed sitting there, sort of thinking, reflecting, sharing some of my kit with you. None of it's recommendations, it's just if you're curious what I take and why, and how I set up camp, this is what the video's about. I'm going to be riding back through Malmesbury. I'll pop in the Abbey, pay my respects to Athelstan. His grave's in there, although the body's not in the grave. They don't know where it is. It could well be under a car park in Malmesbury, a bit like Leicester, is it? Richard III they discovered under a car park. And then I'll head south, get on the Fossway, the Roman road from Lincoln down to Exeter, and I'll take that about 20 miles. It'll take me into Bath, and then it'll be about 2 miles to my home. Hope you've enjoyed coming along. So as I said, it was a shakeout. I bought far too many clothes. I mean, I've only been gambling 49 years. I'm still learning and making mistakes. I don't do it often enough to have an exact regime. I definitely bought too many clothes last night. What possessed me to bring 2 ground sheets, I don't know. I will not be taking a chair. My one luxury probably will be my coffee cup. I won't take the wine glass on holiday, but that is just one thing I'm not prepared to compromise on really, unless I really am stuck for weight and space. I've just topped both my water bottles up, and I'll probably have a big swig just before I leave and then head off that way. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.